In October 1976, October 14th to be exact, we received into our family a wonderful little girl, Roxanna, Roxy.
Roxanita,
Roxy, a first-generation immigrant child.
your birthday just passed. You would have been 44.
She was just a joy to be around.
Love my rocks.
Roxanna, Roxy.
Roxy, Roxy, Roxanna, Foxy Roxy.
She was the kind of person that made you feel that you could do anything.
I loved her from the beginning.
I miss her dearly. She was my best friend. And it still hurts after all these years.
Roxy, she was art. She was uncompromising. She never compromised her integrity. She was real, she was honest, but she was also fun.
So fly, so cool, yet calm. Flyness, what just comes to mind when I think of her.
The James Brown impersonations at family gatherings.
I remember the dance-offs downstairs with Reina and Melanie, Sita, Papito.
She was like the center of the party. She loved to sing and dance to Michael Jackson and to other musicians. Whenever we all got together, whether in Brooklyn or in West Windsor for a family gathering, there goes Roxy doing her thing, doing her singing and her dancing. And she was the cutest thing. It was always something to look forward to that I really, really loved and miss. Just such a star. It was so much fun to watch her and to be a Roxy fan. Really, really miss her.
Roxy celebrated her blackness, and that meant so much to me to see my little cousin 12 years younger than I was to just say, yeah, I'm black and I'm proud and I'm Cuban and I'm proud and I can be all those things. I can be black and Latin and I'm American. Roxy was so self-confident and had such a wonderful self-image. And for me, that was just an amazing and beautiful thing to see, something that I wasn't used to feeling in myself. So Roxy gave me that encouragement and that role, that she was really a model for me of self-love, self-love and self-worth. When you guys moved from Brooklyn to West Windsor, New Jersey, which is the suburbs of New Jersey, it was like a fresh, like a breath of fresh city air. Okay, how do I explain this? Roxy, with her self-confidence, brought to subdued West Windsor, suburbia, New Jersey, Brooklyn swag. She just had a lot of that Brooklyn swag, or swagger, what do you call it? And so Roxy was just cool like her dad. I would say she was her dad's little girl in every sense of the word, and she just picked up your dad's coolness and your dad's, Afro-Cuban Brooklyn swag. Roxanne.
And she was real. Roxy was real.
Her ability to simply be comfortable among adults and to speak her mind very, very plainly.
We loved her. She was such a bright and joyous light.
I just miss her.
Roxana.
I love you, Roxanna Perez.
Roxana
It's a huge void that is there now that she's not there.
She was just always so good about making you feel good and not making anybody feel bad. And I just always remember that.
I love you, Roxy.
Your hands lie open in the long, fresh grass. The finger points look through like rosy blooms. Your eyes smile peace. That piece belongs to a song named Silent Noon. And it is a song about lovers and just that foreshadowing of the moment that they will not see each other. And it's this moment of silence that happens. And that's what I would like to think, that there's this moment of silence with you not being here, but that we will see you again. And in that, I can smile at that fact that I'll know I'll see you again. One of my favorite stories or times with you was spending a summer in New Jersey with you. And we were teenagers. And so we were, coming into our own, and I hung with you and your friends. And I remember it was a Mary J. Blige song. It was the remix album. And we played that song in the car over and over and over. It was like we just couldn't stop listening to it. But it's probably one of my favorite times with you, favorite memories. I miss you. I still love you and think of you often. And I do hope that you were with my dad, with Papi, Tia Hilda, Nana, Chichi. You guys are laughing and waiting for us to join you. So I am truly honored to dedicate this to you. I love you, Roxanna Perez. You are missed always.
Roxy's like, yeah, I'm Cuban American. Yeah, my parents are both Cuban immigrants. They both have thick accents, but I am also Black. I'm a Black American. So she just absorbed and loved and rejoiced and celebrated her Black American culture. And it was like the biggest expression of self-love when she went to Howard. She was a Howard University student and alum. I love Roxy, and I miss her so much. And I just can't imagine.
I love you, Roxy.
When I got pregnant in high school, we were in the 12th grade. She was disappointed in me. And yes, she scolded me as if she was my mother, but just like a best friend would. But at the same time, she embraced it because this is where I was at that point in my life. And she just went with it, and she supported me, and she encouraged me, and she told me that, we were going to be okay, and she was going to help me, and she was all for it once we got up the initial shock. And she was my daughter's godmother, and I went into labor early, and I was in the hospital, and Roxy and I were on the phone, and we found out that day that it was a girl. And we used to talk about this baby as if she was the father. We were on the phone trying to decide what we were going to name this girl. We were like collaborating names, and I'm telling her the names that I like. And of course, she didn't like any of my names, and she's telling me the names that she likes. And I didn't really like any of her names. And I always liked the name Asia, but I wanted to put something with it, and I just could not think of what to put with it. And so Roxy wanted Bria because she was so fascinated with Bria because it was Eddie Murphy's daughter's name. And I just didn't like Bria alone because it was just too plain for me. And so, we were talking, and Roxy said, I got it. And I was like, what? And she said, Bria. And I said, I love it. And it was perfect. And we both loved it. And that's what we together, Roxy and I, named my daughter Briasia. And that's how she got her name.
So when I think of Roxanne, my dear sweet friend, I think of how supportive she was and how encouraging she was about the person that I am. She always was the one that made me feel like I'm greater than that. I'm better than that. Like, girl, like, no, you need to wear this. You need to do this. Like, Halima, I felt like she always had to get me together, as so to speak, and try to put me on as to, what I should be wearing or doing. And I know that I remember when I went to go see her at Howard's homecoming, the one year that I did go, I was like, I hope that she's happy with my outfit. I hope that she's proud of what I'm wearing and that this is acceptable to her. And I did like when I had her approval, I should say, her approval. Not that I needed her approval, but it just felt good. She was the kind of person that made you feel good, made you feel that you could do anything. That friendship with her, that kind of friendship where I know that we both were going to be able to, encourage each other and lift each other up in that type of way where we're going to continue to be great. And so that's definitely a big void in my life. I miss her laugh. I miss her smile. Like when she was really tickled about something, her laugh was like kind of like a tickle me Elmo. I mean, not, she didn't sound like that, but you know what I mean? It's like that kind of laugh. It was so infectious. Her smile, her laughter. And, I miss her a lot. I wasn't surprised at all, but when she, was saying how she was going to work for the NFL and how she did it. Like, and it's like, I wasn't surprised. It was like, yes, like I knew you were going to do that. And it's like, she was doing the things that she loved and going after what she wanted. And I just can't imagine how much she would have accomplished if she was still, here with us and physically. I know that she's still here in a lot of ways. It's like I feel her, I see her. It's a huge void that is there now that she's not there. And I can say that I still have some very hard times, missing her. Sometimes I cry, sometimes it makes me smile. I just also think of how Kyra is missing that relationship. And I can't imagine the impact that she would have had on Kyra's life and how much she would have been a big part of it. But I am thankful that I have Sierra, Papito, and Fernando. I'm happy that I do have them and that we have them in our lives still and that they're a huge part, a great loving part in our lives.
So one summer, I came to stay with you guys in New Jersey, and your mom told you to clean the house. You were almost finished, and last was your bedroom. At that time, MTV was a big hit, and you guys listened to heavy metal a lot. So you had just finished vacuuming your room and putting away the vacuum. And you laid down on the carpet with your eyes to the ceiling, and you began to sing the song that was playing on the radio, or on the TV rather. And it was Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard. And you kept singing it over and over again. So sure enough, what did I do? I went to the kitchen and grabbed the sugar holder, such as the one you find in a restaurant. And I poured all that sugar on her, on you. And so you sat up quickly and you yelled, Melanie. And I was like, oh, wow, I don't think she found that funny. So I laughed so hard. But ultimately, you found it funny until you had to put the vacuum back. So anyway, that's one of my favorite memories of you. And I'm glad I have those to remember you by. You were just so chill, cool, and collective. And I miss you all the time. Speak of you often, and you're always in my heart.
My memory of Roxana takes me back to when we wore frilly dresses with the socks with the lace around the bottom and the little shoes and bows in our hair, always dressed to the T, just as I was. We always had, our hair was just so, our clothes were perfect. That's how our parents had us. Our families used to always be at family parties. And I remember anytime there was a party, I was excited that I would get a chance to see her and do all the things that kids do. Going to her funeral really took me aback and made me really appreciate life. But I had nothing but good memories as a child. All the hear the Cuban music and the food and the loud talking, and she was my little friend, and that's how I will always remember her.
I had a dream, and in the dream, I asked her to play the piano, which is funny because she never played the piano. But in that dream, I asked her, Roxy, I need you to play this song. And you know what it was? My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. So if you know the song, if you know the words, yes, Roxy, our hearts will go on because you live in our hearts. Love you, Roxy.
When I met Roxy, she was approximately 14 years of age. I remember Roxy was very well-spoken, very confident, and I was very impressed by the relationship she had with Papito and Sita and her younger brother, Fernandito. I was able to see her grow into a young lady, and the most significant thing I can think of was Roxy's maturity. Very fond memories of Roxy. Pray for her and the family as they continue to mourn her loss.
I love you, Roxy.
I love Roxy, and I miss her so much.
I really looked up to Roxy. I don't think I ever knew that she even realized how much she meant to me as a friend. I remember I was dating some boy in high school. I was like smitten over this kid who really wasn't that great for me, especially in retrospect as an adult. I know he was awful for me. But I remember one time going into Quaker Ridge Mall. We ended up stopping and talking. I remember her speaking to me about this guy and her telling me that I didn't need to be with him and that there were other people out there. And I had heard this from so many other people. But for some reason, when she said it to me, it resonated in my mind. And in fact, in retrospect, I only remember taking that advice from her and actually hearing it and have it affect me. It just goes to show you how important of a role model that she was for me in my life. And I really valued her as a person. I appreciate having an opportunity to share some of the thoughts that I was too scared to share at her funeral. For me, she was somebody I really looked up to. She was a really awesome and genuine person. And I think of her all the time. She might not be here with us physically, but she's for certain still here with us.
What I remember the most is how she loved her immediate family, her dad, her mother, her brother. Oh my goodness, the way she talked about him. I remember one day we were on our way to visit her grandfather that was in the hospital, Chichi. And we had this long conversation about many, many things. And the subject came up of her brother. And she spoke so gloriously about him. And that was so, it was refreshing to see a brother and sister because sometimes they don't get along. But she admired him, she loved them, and she knew his true colors, and that made her proud of him.
Oh, how you are loved, dear Roxy. Oh, how you are missed. A generous heart and easygoing personality. Every year I remember. I can't forget because your mom remembers. I know you know. Up there, you see everything. Every post your mother makes, every tear your mother sheds. The sobs in the dark, the sobs in the sunlight. Abuelos Nena and Chichi and your Aunt Maria loved you to pieces. Abuela Maria Luisa was over the moon. We miss you, Roxanne, Roxana, Roxy, La Jabaita, La Linda, La hijita de Siri Papito, Maria Luisa's nieta, Nena and Pepsi's nietecita. You grew and you grew up. Graduated from high school, went away. Graduated from college, came back. Got a job with the NFL. Were set on your own path. Your life headed in the right direction. A pivot. Lives altered forever. You traveled a way where we couldn't quickly follow. At some point, we will join you. You'll have a great party. While drinking my black Cuban coffee, I write you this letter, this poem, pouring my heart out to you. When October comes around, I think about you, your parents, your brother. You are their angel, balloons set free, all violet purple, your favorite color. Sweet, sweet Roxy, sigue viniendo, continue your visits. Pass your hand on their foreheads, pat them on the shoulders. Give them that comforting hug. They divine you, their hearts full of you. Tell them, whisper in their ears, Mami, Papi, I still care. I still love. Cógelo con take it easy. I'm still here. I'm at peace. Baby girl, don't worry. We'll always keep an eye on our compadres, tu mamá y papá. Please, Roxy, keep an eye on us too. Cariñosamente, Mimi.
I love Roxy, and I miss her so much. And I just can't imagine.
Well, Roxy, it's going to be 22 years at the end of the month since you've been gone, and you were 22 years old. It's hard to believe that so much time has passed by. You would have been 44 years old now. I have to say that I had been getting through all these years through the amazing support system, especially your dad, your brother, my cousins, nieces, nephews, sister-in-law, godchildren, friends, the whole family, and some of the awesomest friends that we have that have made our life more bearable. They say that if you keep saying the name of a person that's gone, the person is never gone from our lives, from our hearts. A person will stop to exist in our memories if we stop saying their name. So we continue to say your name, and we are so grateful for the 22 years that you gave us, for your presence in our lives and the lives of others that have expressed to me and to us that you made a difference also in their lives. You were my beautiful daughter, loving, always protective of those you love. You were headstrong, yes. You were hardworking, positive, determined to reach your goals. Nothing stood in your way. You made things happen for yourself. You depended on no one. You always got it covered. As you used to say to some of your friends, I'll hook you up. And it's true, you used to hook up anybody. You even hooked up your boyfriend to get back to school, and you made it happen. You always gave good advice, and your spirit lives in us. You keep pushing us to continue to live until we shed this vessel, until we see you again. We love you. We miss you. We were so proud of you. We are still so proud of you. Uh, you were unique, one of a kind. So grateful that I had you. So grateful that I had you in my life, that you were my daughter, and you continue to inspire me. I know that I was like a mouse before I lost you, and I cannot say that I lost you because you're still in my heart, and I didn't lose you. You died, but you're still in my heart, and you will still be in all our hearts forever. You inspire me. I got my fiestiness from you now. I can't keep my mouth shut. I have to say something in the face of if I see anything wrong. I have to say. I have to jump and defend someone, and just as you will do it. And I remember your spirit, remember your words, and we miss you forever. We love you. I know that you have given me so many signs, and I treasure them. Yesterday we went to the cemetery, and Reina was with us, and a butterfly came in between us, and I knew it right away, and we said, "This is you. You letting us know that you're here," and I continue to look for those signs, and I love you, my daughter. Love you and miss you. But continue to be in spirit. The person that you were, continue to be in our minds, in our hearts, until we see you again.
There were hundreds of people at my sister's funeral. The principal mourner's bench is the one turnstile. You see everyone. It was a slow, sad buffet line to pay respects to her casket, closed because my father, the soldier, who identified her body, said it didn't look like her. In this life, nobody gets what they deserve. Some pieces of shit float, and some amazing people like my sister die horrific deaths. a rapist, sexist, racist, is the leader of the free world, and somewhere an environmental activist's murder is being planned, and they'll get away with it. You miss the moment when we, as a smaller family, entered the funeral home hours before the other people showed. My mom ran her arms and some of her body along the casket, a light purple like my sister liked. She collapsed a little bit onto the kneeler. Nobody understood what we lost like my mother and father. Can you imagine you have a child who exceeds your expectations and hopes, then they're gone? By my age now, my father had already seen a war, spending significant time in the shit in Vietnam, and he and my mother had left Cuba and ungentrified crack-era Brooklyn. They did everything right. They raised a gem, and she died during her first year as an adult. As my mom said, she died at 22. It's been 22 years. The stories we have of her are still potent because though she died young, she fucking lived. How much have you changed? Aren't you roughly the same 22-year-old kid, maybe with slight improvements? Maybe you're just a better actor. Roxy was alive. When my sister's ex-boyfriend took the mic at the funeral, he explained that she showed him how to love. My brain was still forming, and we were getting closer when she died. Also, our sibling rivalry had very recently closed with a peace treaty and an official invite to visit her at Howard University. Her screensaver said, "Peace to all the gods and earths." Everyone we saw loved her, but she was showing me off. It wasn't much of a sibling rivalry. Little siblings are annoying, and when the boy comes 7 years after the girl, the results are infuriating to the older sister. She was overprotected a bit. She had to sneak out of the house to go to see that Snoop Dogg show, whereas I was allowed to sleep in a tent in the backyard most of my senior year. Ironically, I got away with even more because she had died. You may have heard our friend Halima say that her friend Roxanne made her feel like she could do anything. Late capitalism is turning decent people into zombies and vampires and otherwise broken and depressed, vindictive people who are sometimes too preoccupied with their own pain to uplift you. My favorite artist says it's important to surround yourself with people who uplift you, with people who make you feel like you can do anything. Take inventory of the people you know and make sure they're more like my sister. You owe it to yourself. You may break bread with friends and family who are too broken to be good to you. These stories you've shared about my sister tend to prove how much better she would have made all of our lives. She was a family person. She would have kept ours much closer. An understatement, I'm sure. She was allergic to the bullshit that drives families apart, but I like to think about who she might have become had she had the chance to keep living on Earth. Our friend Ebony explained my sister was the right blend of tough and sweet. She was a natural mother who probably would have had 2 or 3 kids by now. In the parallel reality where she's alive, I'm sheltering in place with her, helping her with my nieces and nephews so she can do her Zoom calls. She was a boss, and she would have checked you for calling her a lady boss. As Halima explained, she was working for the NFL when she died. She might have been in line to be the next commissioner by now. She was a legend. My sister was an entertainer. I haven't stopped thinking about that Christmas she performed Robin S.'s Show Me Love with my cousins. I was spellbound, but I was young, so I was confused with why my mother was crying during the performance. It reminded her of being young and dancing with the friends she left in Cuba. My sister could have been a comedian. This can't be stressed enough. My mother and sister and I were in a Sears or a Caldor or a Woolworth something in the 90s, and my sister had seen a huge cockroach. She then grabbed a remote control from a toy Cars box and, very compellingly, faked as if she was controlling the roach for like a full minute. My mother and I, just totally transfixed with these realistic actions of the roach, thinking this was some fucking toy. My favorite, more private set of hers, she was dieting. I was at the kitchen table, and she walks into the kitchen. She opened a bag of bugles, grabbed one bugle, sniffed it long and kind of erotically, and said, "That's all I need." Put it back in the bag and just started laughing. I'm not sure why this is my favorite memory of my sister, but this is it. One evening, I walked into the kitchen where my mother had been talking long distance to someone named Cuba. She was twirling the phone's long beige Fusili pasta cord, double dutching it over the kitchen table. I chose to leave her alone. Nobody really knew when I was young I had lots of nightmares about dying. I was always very afraid. And this day, I thought, I need to talk to my parents about this. But my mom looked busy, and my dad was watching something, maybe baseball. He looked tired, and I remember that I had managed to exhaust, perplex, and frighten him all in one night with a barrage of questions about the electric chair. So I crawled like a soldier past his doorway so he wouldn't see me crying to get to my sister's room. She was carefully placing last kisses of radio antenna adjustments so that Hot 97 would come in all the way from New York City on her beautiful stereo with the smooth plastic edges. I ran into her arms and allowed myself to cry, repeating to her, "I don't want to die." When I calmed down a bit, she tried to console me. "Don't you want to meet God?" she said. I pried my head from her and looked at her as if she was crazy, kind of as if to say, "Who the fuck is God? And how do you think you know this God person?" I didn't leave her room believing in God, but I walked out feeling better, also realizing that my sister and I were so different. She wasn't afraid of anything. The only resolution to the story is that I know the morning that she went, she wasn't afraid.